Hey everyone, welcome to my first unboxing video. It's hopefully going to be something I'm going to do again, but this is a really important one. It's a big day for me in the shop. This is the arrival of my 6040 CNC. It is an Omio, and I'm going to go over some of the options that I picked. It's all actually kind of included in their own shipping tag here. So here's the model number, X6M USB. I picked the 220. Because I have a special 220 line set up for it. It's a 3-axis, but they do sell the 4th axis. So I think it's about another 180 upgrade. And this is a 1500 watt water cooled spindle, and the WST is for the wireless controller that comes with it. So I heard that was the upgrade to have. So these 2 boxes just arrived this morning. The payment was delivered, I would say, right about 8 or 9 days ago. While they were waiting for the payment to process, these got shipped over to their freight forwarder in Hong Kong. Now, these were originally from Beijing area. And as soon as the payment was approved, they were fired out of their Hong Kong office. They went through Anchorage, Alaska, and landed on the West Coast in the Oakland headquarters. And they were delivered to my house this morning. So total time in the air, I think about 4 days. And I had to wait about 8 days from date of payment. And I am super pumped. Let's open these bad boys up. All right, it's unboxing time. I am Brian. Nice to meet anybody that's new. Please like and subscribe. That out of the way, I just got 2 boxes in the mail this morning. This has my 6040 CNC in it. They're about 55 kilos combined, which means they're both equally heavy. And we're going to start with this flat one. Now, my first inspection didn't show any damage, but I don't know if you can see it here. It looks like a corner imprint. So hopefully whatever this side was padded with can take the hit. Other than that, it looks pretty good. Let's open it up and see. So, a little bit of the reasoning. I love to design, and I was self-taught Photoshop when I was young, and I always wanted to build with my hands, and I love woodworking and all that. You can see I got a few tools around, but I'm not much of an artist, and what that means is I can't make the images in my head come out, on paper, original art. You can't paint, can't draw. But I can design, I can build and manipulate. And this is like a printer for wood or metal or plastic that will let me create the things that are in my head and print them out just like a printer at home, except in a variety of materials. The first thing that pops out is a really nice piece of milled aluminum. I believe it's going to be some kind of guide or something, maybe an end block. I'm going to start over here and pull out this first piece. Let's see if it comes out. All right. This looks like the table. I don't want to make any assumptions, but that is the only thing in the box. So I'm going to let the box go and kind of unpeel this table here. So a little bit behind my decision-making process was I wanted a 6040, and they all pretty much come from China. There are domestic ones, and I read a lot of reviews and I look at a lot of what's in the market, and I got to watching videos on YouTube and actually saw people using this exact one. And the overall recommendations were really positive, and so I reached out to them. I wanted a little more information about the product, and even from Beijing, they wrote me back within a couple hours. They had written me back in English, and with all the information, all my questions answered, and I was really happy with the response time. And customer service is a big thing for me. So the fact that they got back to me pretty quick. And that made me really happy. Now this is the main deck for the CNC. You can look at it from this side. Here's kind of the more pretty end right here with the nice laser engraved here. And it looks like it's all fully assembled. Here's where the platform runs back and forth underneath the machine. Everything's already put in place. You just have to hook up the stepper motor. I wasn't sure if I was going to be getting limit switches, but apparently there's limit switches already, built into the machine. And I'm sure the controller will have leads specifically for them. This thing is awfully heavy. And I've also been told that they can have a lot of ups and downs and that these aren't always very straight, the extrusions. But this looks like it's very flat. So I may have gotten lucky. There'll be a spoil board on top of here anyway, just to make sure it's super duper flat. Okay, that is a wonderful, gigantic, heavy piece of machined aluminum. And that is gonna be super duper fun. Of course, the big box is the box that I opened second, and this one's probably got the instructions right on the top of it. So let's see if I opened the wrong box first, and I'm sure I did. All right. Plenty of foam. This thing flew halfway around the world, and it's all foamed in very well. Lots of pieces, kind of purpose built. This doesn't look like it's garbage. Like they're using all the leftovers. These pieces are made. They're machined to fit these parts that they're going in. That's a great sign alone. I mean, this thing could have been filled with recycled Chinese newspaper for all I know. But yeah, very happy about that. All right, let's start pulling things out. Box number one, heavy. I don't know what's in it. Heavy, making a clinking sound. All right, let's see. I should put up like a schematic. Okay, here's where I'll put up the wiring, the schematic that shows all the things that are in here. And now we can see if we can identify it when we take it out of the box. Oh, this is an easy one. We sort of knew this one. These are stepper motors. Awesome, super strong magnets. I mean, all the screws for the stepper motors were actually stuck to the motors. And stepper motors are different than regular motors. If you don't know, they're actually wound in such a way that they have fixed intervals that they stop at. So instead of just power on and the motor spins, this actually gets a signal and says, instead of power on, it says go to this location, and it rotates to exactly that far. So these are receiving commands from the controller in a stream of digits. As fast as they can, they are moving around and putting the spindle in the right place to cut. So that is wonderful. These are very heavy. Gosh, it's hard to guess. They're well over a pound a piece, and they feel very solidly built. When you spin them, you can feel little ticks on the inside, and each one of those is a stopping location, and they just feel super beefy, and I'm really happy about that. So, stepper motors. I don't know if you can hear it. Let me see. Maybe you heard that. It sounds a little just like Sandy on the inside, but each one of those is a little stop on the wheel. All right. Moving on. All right, what's next? Let's pull out this box on top. Oh yeah, no, there's good stuff left. Don't worry. I didn't pick out the nicest thing first. Although I do love stepper motors. By the way, if you're not into coordinates and things like that, this is X, Y, and Z axis. So this positions it in 3D space. If I had the fourth axis, I'd have another stepper motor running the spin with the material moving around. All right. this is the controller. So this kind of is like the brain box, right? The computer is going to send the signal to the controller. The controller is going to send out the signals to all the individual stepper motors, and those are going to move the CNC around on the machine. Usually this also controls like the spindle feeder, if there is one. Sometimes these also control like the water pump and stuff like that, because this is liquid cooled. And this is how you would adjust and tune and set zero and things like that. But I have a nice wireless controller that I'm sure we'll see in a second. And this is the stop button. So you hit that and it causes the everything to stop instantly. So if the machine's bottomed out, if it's exceeded one of its ranges and it's tearing itself apart, or if it breaks off a tool, you can just pop it and stop everything. One of the reasons I like Omio too is this actually came with a zeroing device. So a lot of them don't, but this allows you to connect to the machine and do pinpoint zeroing, and that's Z zeroing down. So instead of having to touch the material to your work, you can use this button to do zero without damaging your material. So it's just kind of a cool little upgrade. Normally I think it's something people have to buy. Plugs. This is a USB plug. This isn't the one I'm going to be using because I'm not going to have my computer anywhere near this thing. It'll be on the other side of the room, but that's just personal preference. And I will, you'll understand later. Check out the other video I have. It's going to be talking about the cabinet that I built for this CNC. See, I knew this was coming, so I spent my time in preparation actually building a soundproof cabinet. I know the big limiting factor for me is going to be when I can operate this thing, because it's very loud, and I want to make sure that it was going to be useful to me. So I built a sound cabinet, and I'll show you in the next video exactly what that's about, and I think you'll be pleased. It was a fun project, very challenging. Let's just look at some of the things that it came with here. A little kit. Still haven't found the instruction book, but I'll let you know when I find it. Okay, so what we're looking at here is, it looks like these are the tools for assembly. Instead of coming in a bag, this actually comes in a little case. Hopefully you can see it there, focus. It has some limit switches. These are replacements. This looks like the adapter. So it has it takes a 1/4 inch shank, but this is for the 1/8 inch. So all your 1/8 inch tools will fit into this, and it will go into the shank on the spindle. It also has some weights. I'm wondering what those are for, maybe for balancing or anti-vibration, or actually they're probably part of the assembly process. These are probably going to clamp on. So, yeah, I mean, that'll be part of the assembly video, which is going to take hours based on the estimations that they gave, but I believe I will burn through it in very little time. I like putting stuff together. I don't mind reading instructions. Some people hate instructions. I like instructions. And what is next? Okay. So, all right, one more. All right, so another thing that this one came with, if you ordered a regular spindle, it came with a submersible pump. This is like a aquarium pump. And this actually sits in a reservoir and just pumps fluid through a little piece of PVC, through the machine, out the other side, back into the reservoir. So this actually sits in liquid and just plugs in. This is not an expensive add-on, but another one of those perks that came with this one that you normally have to pay for. So like, why bother paying for it, right? The next thing, oh, super heavy. Oh, you know what this is? I'd be willing to bet that this is a spindle, because it is heavy and about that size. Look at that. All right, this is a bunch of mounting hardware. I'm pretty sure that's for the spindle bracket that this is going to go onto. Oh, look at that. All right. Oh my gosh, it weighs a ton. Of all the parts, I didn't expect the spindle to be the heaviest piece. Oh my God. All right. Loveliness. All right, so this is where the controller mounts onto there that has like signal and power. These are both 2 water lines. You take the little cap out. We're gonna put the hose in there, clamp it down, fill it with Gatorade or whatever. That says 2200. Well, these are also available in a 2200 watt version, but the one I ordered was the 1500. But for some reason, this is stamped 2200. Did I get one? Did I get a 2200? Oh, no, right here. Okay. Sorry, on the laser engraving. So right here, 1.5. That's 1500 kilowatts. 1.5 kilowatt right there. 5 amp. 24,000 RPM, although I probably won't be running it that high. I do plan on messing around with all that to find kind of the optimum running speed and stuff without damaging and blowing things up. I'm actually gonna put that back in there. It weighs so much that you like, it's hard to let it go, you know what I'm saying? All right, here's bringing out a little piece of beauty here. Holy shit. All right, well, this is what makes all the difference in the world, and you know how precisely machined your machine is. Definitely accuracy and deflection and things like that are what you're going to look into when you're CNC shopping. Let me just peel this off. Okay, so right here, just going to kind of really gently separate this. Okay, so this belt right here connects the little controller that's here on the machine to the spindle so it can move around. And then this one right here funnels all the rest of the vitals. So this is the plug that's going to go up to the spindle. Each one of these go to a different, see this one's marked Y, so that's for the Y stepper. And then inside here, the hoses are already routed. So all you have to do is drop these, put these on the pump and drop it right in the water. The rest of these are all coded to go directly into the back of the controller. And everything here feels really sturdy. I mean, really strong. Like, doesn't feel like cheap stuff. And that's really nice. I got to read the instructions. Definitely don't want to mess any of this up. Let's look at some of the machine parts here. This is also a big heavy part. So this is where the spindle's going to sit. This has about 3.5 inches of Z travel, and you can see that's that screw right there behind the spindle. And so pretty much all the weight for this, I mean there is some little heavy things, but all the weight from this is the bed and this monster right here. Like, it's even got a little cheat sticker. I'm going to peel that off because I know my coordinates. And one last thing in the box is, oh, it says USB receiver. Oh, okay, here we go. So here's the controller. Let me give you a little closer look. I'm assuming you got a pop in there. They actually has their name printed on the sheet here, so I don't know if this was made for them or what. And I also got this. It says USB receiver, and I'm not 100% sure if this is how it communicates with the box. I guess that's how it works. So I don't know if there's two. I don't know if there's 2 USBs in here or what. I see one right here. I'll have to figure out what this is for. This might actually be a way for it to wirelessly be controlled by a computer. That would be very sophisticated, but not overly so. And that would be, instead of wiring in, like you could plug this into your laptop and control your machine. I don't think that's what it's for, but I don't see an actual USB port on here at first glance. So we'll have to kind of see. So what I didn't catch is a instruction manual or owner's manual or really any documentation at all. Just gonna look through my other box. Okay, well maybe it's self-explanatory. You know what? I'll bet you anything. Yeah, you know what? I remember now. It's an online product document, so I just have to go inside and download the PDF, and that'll have a list of all the parts that should be here, and then I can come out here and start the assembly video, which is going to be the next video, obviously. But I hope you guys are excited as I am. I'm super pumped. I'm gonna have to clean up my mess a little bit and get the workshop ready. There's gonna be a workshop tour, and I'm gonna show you the CNC cabinet. Now this, I'll just say that the CNC cabinet, it's worth watching because it's the first time I've done a soundproofing project, and I really did it right. And setting something at 80 to 90% sound reduction, which is, if you haven't heard it, you're gonna like that. So I would definitely recommend checking out that video. I'll try to do a link at the end here to it. If you have any questions, leave me comments. I'm going to be just making sure all the parts are here and then setting up for assembly. All right, cheers. All right, so just one quick pan through. Stepper motors, pump, there's the spindle, remote controller, USB. Now, I didn't show you this in the previous one, but these are actually some mills. So see, there's like an end, there's a 1/8 inch end mill and probably some other bowl, ball nose, stuff like that. Controller. Here's a mile of aluminum, and the rest of the umbilical.